Hi there, welcome to Bristol Wine Tips. My name's Tristan Darby and my wine of the week this week is actually from a supermarket. I had initially set out to do just the independent retailers around Bath and Bristol, but I immediately had some feedback from customers asking to include some supermarket wines as that's where they prefer to shop. So that's perfectly fine. I'll mix the both in on these videos. The wine I've gone for this week is actually a port. And a lot of people tend to wait until right up until Christmas to go out and buy a bottle of port to be as part of the Christmas table. But I think it's an opportunity missed. It's the start of November now, the nights are drawing in. We tend to like something quite smooth and warming to drink when we come in this time of year. And port of this style, this is late bottled vintage port, so LBV Port, is a really good port that ticks those boxes. It's really quite sweet, so if you don't like sweet things, you might struggle with this, but if you don't mind wines that are sweet, this is absolutely fantastic. It's 20% alcohol because they stop the fermentation of this wine by adding a very strong grape-based spirit to raise the alcohol level to 20% and leave the natural grape sugars in the wine. Now, this is made by Waitrose in partnership with the Symington family estates. You might not have heard of the Symingtons, but they own Graham's and Dow's and some major port brands you probably will have heard of. And this is a really smooth, velvety, rich wine. You might have had port before that is ruby port, which is port that isn't aged for particularly long. It's quite bright and spicy. They can be quite punchy, fiery kind of styles of port called ruby port. There's the other end of the scale, which is a vintage port, which is port that's comes from grapes from a single year where they've declared that the vintage, the harvest year has been good enough to produce these wines that are designed for very long aging. Both of those wines aren't aged for very long by the producer. So ruby ports aren't aged for very long because they're designed to be young and drunk young and be really fresh. Vintage ports aren't aged for very long because they're designed to be aged in bottle by you, the consumer. Late bottle vintage ports are really, really good value. They are made in pretty much the same way as a vintage port, grapes from a single harvest year, really good quality grapes. But the producers age the wine for 4 to 6 years in barrels before they release it. So by the time you get the port to you, it's really good quality grapes, but it's nice and smooth and velvety and rich. That aging in their cellars has smoothed the wine out for you. I can't recommend this enough. With some 70 or 80% dark chocolate, it turns into like a chocolate, almost like a chocolate cherry liqueur in your mouth, or like some sort of posh Black Forest Gatto. But this wine particularly, the late bottle vintage port from Waitrose, really, really smooth, really spicy. I find it a little bit plummy, fruit flavoured. Really, really good value at £10.99. Go and grab yourself a bottle. Subscribe to Wine Tips for more wines of the week and other tips, and hopefully I will see you at a tasting sometime soon. Thank you for watching.